Hi, and welcome to Michigan Matters. You don't need me to tell you there's a mayor's race underway in the Motor City as Detroit City Council President Mary Sheffield is here to talk about that contest she hopes to win on November 4th, along with thoughts on some key issues. Then the roundtable of Susie Avery, Mayor Brian Barnett, and Michael Griffey is here to weigh in on politics, government shutdowns, and a lot more. It's an action-packed show with lots to talk about. Let's get started.
From CBS Detroit, this is Michigan Matters with Carol Kane. Michigan Matters is brought to you in part by Henry Ford Health.
As our viewers know, there's a race on for mayor in the city of Detroit, and voting has already started to replace Mike Duggan. Two candidates emerged from the primary, and we've extended invitations to them both. With that disclaimer, let's welcome Detroit City Council President Mary Sheffield. It is so great to have you with us here on the show.
I am honored to be here, Carol. Thanks for having me.
Well, there's so much to talk about here. Let's start with you. You won the primary, despite the low turnout and a challenging pathway, to say the least, for Reverend Solomon Kinlock, your competitor. Is this race over?
You know, I believe that the race is over when the race is over. And I am going to work extremely hard to ensure that we're reaching every voter in this city. I believe that this is a critical race and a critical moment in Detroit's history. And every area of the city deserves to be seen, to be heard, and to be valued. And this opportunity, running for mayor, gives me the opportunity to continue to connect with voters to the very end.
To the
so very end.
How do you guard against complacency, not only with your team, but most important, with voters who've been hearing you? I mean, you had a gigantic lead coming out of the primary.
Yeah. You know, for me, again, this is the first time in 12 years we get to elect a new mayor. Detroit deserves a leader who will stand up, who will be present, who will give their full commitment to the betterment of this city. And I don't think there's any room for complacency. There's still far too many issues that our city has to deal with, whether it's housing and crime and access to quality jobs and good housing in this city. And the more we can continue productive dialogue, the better I will be prepared taking that seat come November.
You're a career public servant who has been preparing for this for a long time, long before you were even part of city council. With that said, why do you want the job?
Well, I want the job because I am prepared to lead our city to its next level. We've made tremendous progress in Detroit, record low crimes, record investments in housing and economic development. We've supported programs like beautification grants and home repairs. We've made tremendous progress in this city, but there's still far much more work to do to ensure that opportunity reaches every neighborhood of this city. I believe that I am ready day one to ensure that we are protecting the growth and the progress that we've all worked so hard to achieve, but most importantly, ensure that it goes deeper into our neighborhoods and reaches more people.
There's a lot of things that are contributed to the city's resurgence. Mayor Duggan accredited his great working relationship with City Council. That said, obviously, Council is its own legislative body. It's not there to rubber stamp. Can you give us an example of an issue that they brought before you that you didn't necessarily agree with that you were able to work out?
Oh, tons of them. I think the one that is one of the most defining that the mayor actually talks about as well was the Pistons moving to Detroit. It wasn't that I was against it. I wanted more benefits for Detroiters. And I heard clearly from our residents that we're not against development in downtown, but we want something coming back to our neighborhoods. And because of the negotiations, I created the Neighborhood Improvement Fund, which captures income taxes of the players, goes back into an improvement fund, and can only be used in our neighborhoods. And so that is a type of healthy discourse in pushing and challenging the administration that has led us to actually benefit our residents in Detroit.
Another thing that the current mayor had that you won't have going forward, whoever wins the mayor's race, is lots of fiscal resources thanks to the federal government COVID relief and other programs here. You've talked about some programs that are going to cost money. How do you remedy that, knowing there's not going to be additional monies most likely?
Well, we are going to be very intentional about aggressively going after additional revenue streams in Detroit. We're going to continue to attract industry to Detroit to get residents employed. Once they're getting in good livable wage jobs, we get income taxes. And we're going to continue to focus on building our neighborhoods so that we can grow our population. I think it's also important to note that we have 11th consecutive credit upgrade, which does allow the city to bond if necessary for important issues like housing and infrastructure. And so we are going to have the leading economists at the table to help us figure out the best way to diversify our revenue streams in Detroit.
I know you've talked about fighting crime, public safety as one of the priorities. I know you're also a fan of Chief Bettison, who you hope sticks on if you are successful in your bid here. Even the mayor has said more resources need to be dedicated to policing. given that, the fact that the current president is not as likely to send additional resources to urban areas when it comes to this, how do you give additional resources to the chief in this environment going forward?
Well, we actually have a significant amount of funding that is pending right now in the state Senate, the Public Safety Trust Fund that we're hoping to get approved that would send a dedicated stream of funding to Detroit for public safety. But additionally, we are going to, again, go back to how we diversify our revenues, whether it's a local sales option tax, a half-penny tax that we've seen in Columbus that has generated a significant amount of revenue that can be dedicated to the area of public safety or infrastructure. We're going to diversify our revenues. We are also going to aggressively seek federal grants as well too, and state grants. Now we do know the climate is different.
I was just going to say, good luck with that.
We'll still try. And then also we have our private sector, our philanthropic sector, and others who need to step up and ensure that we are filling the gaps and supplementing the programs that have impacted Detroiters.
And we're just warming up. We're going to continue the conversation with Mary Sheffield after this quick timeout. Welcome back. We're talking with Detroit City Council President and Mayoral Candidate Mary Sheffield. Mayor Duggan's been an effective leader of our state's largest state, so regardless of whether you agree with that or not. I mean, he got elected in on a write-in, done an incredible amount of things, but even he has said right now the biggest needs are affordable housing. That's a huge one, and also economic development in the neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Let's start with there. Your thoughts about that. Is affordable housing and neighborhood economic development the next leap?
Without a doubt. We have to ensure that we're building housing for all income levels and for all stages of life. Everyone who needs access to quality, safe housing should be able to get it right here in Detroit. And so we're going to continue to focus on how we build more home ownership, expanding our down payment assistance program, which has allowed for 700 new first-time home buyers in Detroit to get access to down payment assistance. And we're going to ensure that we're incentivizing and fast-tracking development that does prioritize the development of affordable housing in our city. And we all know that neighborhoods, right, in order for Detroit to rise higher and for people to live in this city and to grow our population, it must start with our neighborhoods. And that's investing in our commercial corridors, eliminating blight, providing more beautification efforts, and making sure that it is walkable and vibrant for people to feel safe and to live.
Well, I grew up on the east side of Detroit, and when I see what's happened in the old neighborhood there and all the development going on, it's like, oh my gosh, in the East English Village and all these other areas there, it's like, wow, it's incredible. Let's talk about something else I know you've talked a lot about here, and that's education. Obviously, you don't control Detroit Public Schools. Dr. Vitti runs that, but it's not, again, part of your tutelage to say you can do this or do that. But have in the conversation about trying to improve education, particularly in Detroit, have you talked to Dr. Vitti about things, and what have those conversations been?
We've had very productive conversations. I'm looking forward to partnering with him as well as a school board and be a mayor that champions education. We don't need to control the school system, but we can change the outcomes for our young people. And so we will focus on how we reduce absenteeism, ensuring that we have safe routes to school, that we're better coordinating transportation, that we're providing more after-school programming and out-of-school time for our young people to improve their reading and literacy skills overall. And so I am excited to have a liaison from the mayor's office working directly with our school system on a daily basis.
Mayor Duggan governed the city when there was a Democrat in the White House and used his relationship with Joe Biden first as vice president, then when he was president, to benefit the city. Obviously, the city is in a different position with a Republican president in the White House and control of the House Senate. If you are victorious, how are you going to stand out and make Detroit's presence and needs known?
Well, the same way that we've done it. Detroit is such a historical city in the larger landscape of this country. We've contributed so much, and I believe a lot of attention and eyes are on Detroit because of our resurgence and the ability to grow and move this city forward. And so regardless of who's in office and regardless of the party, my goal and my responsibility as mayor is to bring resources back to this city and improve the quality of life for residents. So I will always be trying to find common ground that we can align on that will bring resources and benefits directly to Detroiters. And so I've served under a previous Trump administration, so I have a slight idea of how things will operate. And I do know that it will be challenging, but we will be able to move forward and get things done.
How do you feel about dealing with Trump if you are successful as Mayor Sheffield?
You know, I'm prepared. am going to move forward with ensuring that our residents are protected and that we're trying to bring as many resources back to Detroit. We're going to continue to have the outreach that's needed to find common ground.
One thing that Duggan did is continuing the path that actually Dave Bing had started, and that's being more regionally cooperative, working with the 3 county executives and others. Your thoughts on that continuing as opposed to going back where it was the city versus suburbs, elbows out mentality? How important is regional cooperation, I guess, in Mary Sheffield's book?
It's very, very important. We've come a long way. The us versus them mentality, now it is a collaborative spirit in our city, and that is the only way that we'll be able to ensure that Detroit rises higher. When we talk about the threats to federal funding, there has to be stronger partnerships in the region as it relates to transit, things like mental health, and even education. I mean, these are the things that we have to reach across Detroit lines and partner with our regional leaders to ensure that we're addressing these critical issues. So they're very important to me, and I've already built some of those relationships and looking forward to continuing those conversations.
If you are successful, you would be the city's first female mayor. Last year, Kamala Harris ran, and she lost primarily because men of color, African-American men of color, did not support her. How confident are you of winning African-American male vote in the city on November 4th? I'm
very confident. I've had an overwhelming positive response from men, white or black, or any other race here in Detroit. I think what's important is that it's not really about gender. It's about the ability to lead at such a time as this. This is a critical moment in Detroit's history, one in which experience is needed to navigate these very difficult times.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds here to look into the camera and just say why folks should be voting for you.
Detroit has been an honor to serve. I've been here with you, fighting for you, advancing policies and programs that have directly moved this city forward. I've ushered in a spirit of collaboration that has allowed council to be a partner with the mayor's office to move this city forward. And now we know that there's more work to be done. I bring experience and a record of delivering for Detroit, and with your support, we can ensure that opportunity reaches every neighborhood of our city.
I think you've given that speech before.
Yes.
Okay, Mary Sheffield, thank you so much for taking time to be with us, talking with voters, talking about the issues here. We'll continue to watch this contest and look forward to see the outcome. So congratulations on all you've done.
Thank you.
Wishing you luck and your candidates, other candidate as well. We'll see how it all shakes out here.
Thank you so much.
We want people to vote. That's the most important thing. So keep it right here. We're back with the Roundtable after this. And we're back, and so is the Roundtable as we welcome Brian Barnett, Mayor of Rochester Hills, fresh off his State of the City speech we'll talk about. In the middle is Susie Avery, former chair of the Michigan Republican Party, who has much to say, and Michael Griffey of AECOM. All of you back by popular demand. Great to see you.
Well, good to be here.
Thank you. Well, summer's over with. It's on. Election's on. Let's start off talking about where we left off. That is the Detroit mayor's race. Michael, the last time you and I talked, it was before the primary. There were 9 candidates involved, 2 left standing, Mary Sheffield and Solomon Kinlock. As we sit here today, how do you see the contest?
I'll tell you what, 2022, I ran for Congress in a 9-person race, and the winner is a congressman with 27% of the vote. Mary Sheffield was in a 9-person race and won with 51% of the vote. I think that says there's a mandate, and I think she's in the driver's seat to become the next mayor of Detroit.
And Susie, you not only have run for office, you have worked at Michigan Political Leadership Program, which is, a nationally renowned training program at Michigan State for people who want to go into politics. You have given counsel to people about running for office. Is there a pathway for Reverend Kinlock at this point?
I would have to say it's probably one of the most difficult assignments that he would ever have to undertake. I mean, races like this are always get out the vote, GOTV we call it. And if he's able to do anything that shows him within striking distance, I'm sure he'll be able to do something. But right now, this close to the race, I haven't seen it yet.
And Brian, you have worked obviously with Mayor Duggan. Curious, have you worked with City Council President Mary Sheffield?
I haven't worked with her personally, but obviously in support of a lot of what Mayor Duggan has done. I think that's what the city is saying. Residents are saying we like the track we're on. Mary Sheffield seems to be the one most willing to keep that track going, keep a lot of his initiatives going. And I think that's what you're saying. People think the city of Detroit's on the right path.
You also just recently gave your State of the City speech in a production that I think Walt Disney would be christening and saying, God bless you. It was like off the chart crazy, based on Wicked. the movie, the Broadway show. What was the message of your speech?
Well, we always try to tell a really unique story, and thankfully we have a city that allows us to tell a really good story. We've had some really great successes. But this year we talked about it kind of in the Wicked Wizard of Oz thing, that you need courage, strength, and a heart to be a great community. And then we highlighted those as using the characters of Wicked. And I'm really proud of our city, 9th best place to live in the country, 5th safest place to live in the nation. So we got to tell that story, and I got to put on a crazy suit and sing and dance. It was a lot of fun.
You had a lot of singers and dancers. It was quite whatever. You also have, unfortunately, what too many cities across our country are facing, and that is dealing with these shooting rampages. There was Grand Blanc church shooting last weekend, and I know you have been actually involved with helping them, aren't you?
It's a terrible fraternity, but having had the experience of going through mass shooting in your community, been on the phone with their township supervisor, their leadership, just offering support. It helped me get through our time, things that you might not be thinking about, things that aren't necessarily on your radar when you're just focused about loving on the people in your community. You got to be taking care of some of the stuff in the back.
And I don't know where it all ends. Between churches, at Water Park in your case, I mean, this is crazy stuff here. Let's move on, Susie, to something that might be sounding crazy here too. With these government shutdowns here, you've spent a lot of time in Lansing, and the state legislative leaders have kicked the can down the road on trying to reach a budget compromise. It's supposed to be October 1st, going to be October 8th here. Will they work out a compromise here?
Yes. It has been, I believe it has been worked out. I believe what they're doing right now is it takes a while to draft the bills because you have to go back and they have to research all these MCL different things. And but I believe they have the thing that convinces me of that is they had a press conference with the governor, the Speaker of the House, and the Senate Majority Leader. They all stood up there and said, "We have it. It's just being written, and we're going to vote on it." And I believe by the time next week,
it will be here.
It will be it.
We had Matt Hall, speaker, on a couple weeks ago, and he said they were going to have education portions worked out before the budget. He was confident as well here. But, Michael, you also have our expertise up in Lansing. Your thoughts? Are they going to have this worked out by the 8th?
Yeah, I think so. You know, getting Matt Hall, Winnie Brinks, and Gretchen Whitmer doing a press conference together, that tells you that there's a deal that's been done. But it's been very quiet as far as, and closed off as far as who's been negotiating this budget. The folks that I know up in Lansing aren't really hearing anything about how the deal's gotten done, but it's been a very closed-door process.
And who's going to be most unhappy, the Republicans or Democrats, when this is all said? I mean, everybody has to give a little, take a little, whatever. Who is going to be more unhappy with the end result here?
It would have to be the Senate Dems, probably. You know, Matt Hall has shown himself to be a force up there in Lansing, and the way he's gone about this budget process, I think he's going to claim victory. But I think all sides are going to claim victory. But I think the rank and file.
And of course, I'm going to have a different opinion, and that is that you know, this state budget is going to be reduced from last year by $1 billion. And now I'm an old broad, I realize that, but in my lifetime, this is pretty dramatic that they've been able to, and it's all based on the zero-based budget. You know, they went through it line by line.
It's going to be a complicated and interesting situation to be sure here, and much more to say about it. But we could take a quick break. We'll be back with more Michigan Matters in the Roundtable right after this. Welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're talking with Brian Barnett, Susie Avery, and Michael Griffey about what else but politics. So Governor Whitmer was in Toronto this past week, gave a speech, talked about the tariffs' impact on Canada, how crazy they were, but also shared a little bit about what she's thinking about her future political, and was asked about the upcoming presidential and said she may not be the main person, but maybe she'd like to be involved somehow, some way. What do you interpret that? Fellow Democrat over here, what do you interpret that as her meaning?
Well, to me, it sounds like she'd be interested in being somebody's number two,
like
vice president.
VP?
Yeah, yeah. Whether that be Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, or name your other
Newsom?
8. Yeah, Gavin Newsom. Or
and former chair of the Michigan Republican Party. How do you interpret what she's saying?
Oh, we certainly hope that it's Kamala Harris again. Please, put her on the ballot.
Well, hey, she's making big bucks with her book sales are going crazy right now.
Because we all want to read all the gossip she's got in it. I mean, you know, even I would like to know some of this stuff. I mean, and then it's just going to be there's a lot of people on the Democratic bench right now who are looking at it. I mean, I think Newsom and our governor are doing it completely different. I mean, Newsom's doing the attack mode. She's doing more of the bipartisan thing.
It is interesting for her because she, you know, most of the time you keep yourself out there as a potential because you're talked about, you're in a lot of circles, and she certainly was in the upper echelon of contenders. And what she said kind of puts her in a different position. And I'm sure it was purposeful. And people now maybe not view her as a threat, but maybe as an ally, and will talk and view her differently.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Washington here. There is a federal shutdown, and this is much more ominous sounding and longer term potentially than what we have going on in Lansing right now. And Brian, as someone who runs a city here, how are you preparing for this? I don't know, like federal resources coming your way and a potential shutdown, things that may be impacted. Have you adjusted it any way?
I was going to say the city of Rochester Hills is wide open. We're the only ones apparently that aren't shut down. We look at that. We're in a better position than some communities. I worry more about our nonprofits generally who get a lot of federal assistance. But we work pretty closely weekly with groups that especially for grants, big brownfields, things like that. And we're obviously looking at employment. If a lot of folks lose employment, that trickles down into local economies. So, if the shutdown is 2 weeks, we're probably okay. If the shutdown is 2 months, it's a different story.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, too, is I think as more people are impacted, whether it's through getting Social Security checks or no longer getting them, or more and more people being furloughed here, who do you think this impacts more? Since we know healthcare and healthcare costs, Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, et cetera, is kind of in the middle of all of this. Who do you think, the longer this shutdown goes, impacts? Is it the Democrats? Is it the Republicans?
Well, I think the answer is the American people. When I was practicing law during a government shutdown, the federal courts ground to a halt, and that hurts everybody that is in dealing with the American system of jurisprudence. So I think the American people are the ones that hurt.
2026. Looking ahead.
The midterms, right now we're all looking at a race that's going on out east in terms of the Virginia race and for governor, because there are a lot of people who work in D.C. live in Virginia. So that's kind of the forerunner of the midterms. But the Republican Party is really hopeful about the midterms because we think we still have everyone on our side. But it's going to be tough and expensive. When he and I were running for Congress, we thought it was expensive for us. It was like nothing compared to what it is today.
And Michigan will really be a bellwether. I mean, obviously you're looking at New Jersey and because of the midterms, New Jersey and Virginia now, but Michigan is going to be where all the attention is because of the governor's race. And Mike Duggan adding such a unique angle to it.
And the Senate race.
Mike Rogers,
in a swing state, a swing state with a very important swing governor and swing senator. And so you're going to see all the attention. And then, of course, some congressional races that are going to be bitterly fought for control of the House, some House races. So it's going to be all eyes on Michigan.
Yeah, and I know, Susie, real quickly, you were at the Michigan State Republican Convention that took place up at Mackinac Island. I know John James did not participate in the governor's confab that they had there. Does that cost him at all in terms of support with anyone?
I think it might have with some of the people who were there. Probably in the long run it does. I mean, those are little things that happen in a campaign that he had something else that he had already said he was going to do, so he went and did it.
All right, we're winding down here. I've got about 30 seconds left. The Detroit Lions, who are starting off with a bang. I know, Susie, that's your favorite team.
Yes, it is.
And your favorite coach.
But not even for the players. Not even for the players, Susie.
Yeah, and are they going to make it?
They're looking a lot better than they were a few weeks ago. I love the way they look. They're an incredible team, coached incredibly well.
You see?
Are you a football fan?
I'm a huge Lions fan. The thing that gets me, though, we win a game and we're on top of the world. We lose a game and the Lions are terrible.
You know what? That's the theme song for the Detroit Lions, unfortunately, here. And unfortunately, we're out of time, so that'll be the last word. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you next Sunday for a little bit more Michigan Matters. Take care.